I'm just making my way across the bridge to the University of Queensland to a conservation symposium, and what a treat it's going to be. I'm going to meet with conservation practitioners and science to do my favourite thing, which is talk more about conservation science and how it's impacting real world management. This symposium is going to be at the Centre for Biodiversity and Conservation Science. I'm Dr. Chris Brown, and this is the Conservation Hackers vlog. So we started with 13 5-minute presentations from NGOs and academic scientists. Unfortunately, I can't share those presentations. However, I can say that groups that were there included World Wildlife Fund, Wilderness Society, Queensland Conservation Council, BirdLife Australia, among many others. And they were really generous on sharing their ideas around collaboration and their thoughts for research projects. They even let me talk about the Conservation Hackers vlog. So here's the wrap from event co-organiser Brooke Williams. How did you think that it came off?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. It was incredible to have such a variety of different people representing NGOs and academic institutions in the same room. Like, what a massive power hub for conservation right there. So yeah, try and get better alignment about different conservation issues from NGOs and academia.
And what do you hope people take home, the people that were watching?
I really hope that ideally what we want to do is we want to collaborate more. Obviously in academia we're a little bit in our lane, so I think it's really important to collaborate with NGOs to broaden our horizons, to find synergies in projects. So ideally I think we want to co-develop research agendas together. And I know that's a very big aspiration for our first conservation catch-up, but that's kind of the broad hope for the future as we do more of it.
Small steps.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're going to take off now and enjoy pizza and beer, and hopefully I'll catch up with a few more people.
Bye everyone.
Hi, my name is Sandra Dunn. I'm the Director of the Center for Biodiversity and Conservation Science at the University of Queensland.
And just tell us a bit about this event you just had and what you hope to achieve with it.
Sure. We just held a conservation catch-up, which is essentially an opportunity for us to try to engage directly with the NGO community to understand their research needs and actually to sort of co-design both research and get more input on the policy needs for a lot of the work that we're doing.
I think it's a really great initiative to try and bring the researchers together with the NGOs. Is this a big part of the CBCS vision?
It is. So essentially, the centre is a forum for sort of conservation discussions at the University of Queensland, and I would also hope across southeast Queensland in general. And a critical part of what everybody in the centre does is essentially apply conservation science in some form or another. And we can't be applied if we're not actually engaging with those communities that are doing the on-the-ground work, and the NGOs are a great resource for them.
So at this point, I gave up trying to record interviews. The sounds of 50 scientists socialising was just too much for my little microphones.
It is. So essentially,
I did get to have some great conversations. So here's my summary of what I learned at the symposium about collaborating with non-governmental organisations. My first suggestion is to look up your local NGOs and find out what their science priorities are. They often publish them on their webpage or in reports. This will help you align your discussions with those NGOs. Next thing to try would be to get in touch with NGO staff. You could try cold calling them, but you probably know someone who knows someone. Ask your supervisors or other collaborators in your area. If you do get to meet with NGO staff, don't go in hard with a pitch. They don't want to know what research you want to do. They're there to learn about how you can help them. So ask lots of questions. Find out what problems are challenging them, what information they need to better inform their decisions. That will allow you to tailor a research proposal to what their needs are and better align your research with the NGO's priorities. As one example of that, the presenter from the Wilderness Society pitched several ideas to the researchers around communication products she'd like. These could include doing analyses to attribute extinction risk to particular industries. This helps them better communicate the importance of natural ecosystems. So if you've made this far and had the conversations, the next is to come up with a bit of a research plan about what research you would do. Even if they don't have time to collaborate right now, they still might pick it up later. For instance, BirdLife Australia now aligns all of their researcher awards to their science priorities. So if you're doing research in their area, you're automatically eligible for those awards. Now, a big point of discussion in the panel after the symposium was the timelines of NGOs. NGO timelines are often used as moving a lot faster than research timelines. This can be particularly challenging for research students who are still learning the skills and techniques they need to do the research. so there can be a timeline mismatch. For instance, NGOs may need to produce data or report in time to influence an impending government decision, and there'll be a strict deadline for this. That being said, lots of NGOs have ideas for research projects they'd like to see happen, but there's no particular deadline on, and they don't have to have them. These kind of ideas can be great for student research projects because there's plenty of time to develop the work and create an output that then becomes useful to the NGO, but they're not dependent on having that. I think the ideal timeline length for PhD students to think about is a project that should be done within the next 6 to 12 months. That gives you time to learn and develop the skills, but can also be fast enough to stay in touch with what the NGOs do. The next piece of advice is to recognise that NGOs are often under-resourced. This means they probably won't have bucket loads of funding to help you with your research, but they'll likely be really enthusiastic about having extra hands to help. When you are planning a research project with an NGO, just be sure to plan that with a mentor or research supervisor. You need to make sure that what you're doing fits with your own career goals and your own skill set, and that you will be able to deliver the research on time. Working with NGOs has been one of the most rewarding aspects of my career. As an academic and as a research student, I had the luxury of doing work for free in passion projects that helped my career. And as a bonus, sometimes these passion projects lead on to funded research. The research I've done with NGOs has often led to real-world impact. These stories of impact have become a core part of my career as a scientist and how I talk about who I am. So I really encourage you to get involved with NGOs and start making a difference through research.